All right. So can we define when do we use the waterfall approach?
So what? Miss Emma had her hands up for a while.
Yeah, I don't want to talk over people. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I think most of the question we already asked. I was gonna ask what you currently have as far as the methodology, and then that way we know what we want to, what works best for you guys. Because since we are coming new, we just can't bring what we know, because you set the rules here. So, and we just go and follow them, abide with those rules. But if we come in and say, oh, because my previous company used Waterfall, it works for us, or my previous company used Agile. So what if that's not what you guys want to use? Then again, it depends on the kind of products you're supporting. So I think that has to go hand in hand. So that was what I was going to ask. So that way we know which approach currently is being used. And then if that has been working well, or if it's not working, and then we can try a different approach that we think might actually help this product.
Yeah, I mean, that's the essence of you guys being on this call. You guys have to deliberate on what's best, because at the end of the day, most of this meeting is going to be in between you guys, and you'll be able to, unless you guys want to nominate somebody to be responsible for your, because all I'm gonna do is just to make sure you guys are doing your job. But at the end of the day, you guys have to deal with all this task and all these conversations. There are certain conversations I don't need to know about. So all I know is once you review this, also you review the backlogs to give you an idea about which approach to follow.
Do you guys have a Scrum Master? Because you keep saying us, it depends on us, but like we are not Scrum Master, we don't plan the sprint. Do you guys have a Scrum Master to plan the sprint, or this has to be our job? Do you have, like having if it's an agile environment where you have a Scrum Master, you have a product owner, and then you have the team. So that I don't understand. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit, please? Thank you, sir.
So right now, the Scrum Master, we had a Scrum Master until last week, before she decided to quit, or for some reason, I don't know why she quit. But right now, the company is in progress to, we're looking for another person to replace the Scrum Master. But with the current task at hand, us not having a Scrum Master right now does not stop what needs to be done in those backlogs. But like I said, the company is in the lookout for a new Scrum Master. So the reason why I also say that is that all these backlogs are already defined, like the estimates and every other information you might need is already in the backlogs. Like everything is already defined there for you. It's just you go in there, check it out about your whether you're able to achieve it or you're unable to tackle it. That has to do with you. But everything that's already been predefined there.
I do have an opposing question to that, sir.
Okay.
I think we'll have to redefine those, because how sure are we about those estimates? If they actually define it and are no longer there to fulfill it, definitely shows those definitions were not right. So we might have to take a look over everything.
I'm in support of that.
Well, as long as you are making progress in whatever you're doing, right, that will justify whatever modification you did to it. So that's all I'm going to say to that.
Okay.
Why I support Mr. Sammy was the fact that if you have an estimate of, let's say, 2 point or 3 point, and then I come in because it depends on the team's ability. So everybody has their ability, and that's why we have transparency. You don't just want to base on your previous employee that you already lay over, maybe because you're giving them a task that they're not able to complete. That's why they, leaving, or you're firing them because there's no kind of transparency. You feel like, okay, this should be done at this time, get it done. So I think that's why we coming in need to have us say like, oh, this is what I can work at this time, instead of somebody defining my work item and how many points should be assigned to that, So I agree with Mr. Sami.
Thank you.
I know. See, this is what I'm saying, right? At the end of the day, if you are taking too long, on a specific task, and you're just using you are using a cover up to cover out your whatever is happening to you, your ability, whether you are unable to get the job done, and you just burning the company's time. There are repercussions for that too, which was why I told you everything at the end of the day, performance really matters, right? Performance really matters. But as long as you are at least giving us something in return for the time wasted, let me just put it that way. We are seeing some returns at the end of the day. Probably we'll have to review it, but the moment we can't see anything to justify your time or whatever you are working on, then probably gonna have a problem.
Excuse me, sir. What an accusation.
I'm just letting you know. I'm saying it the way it is, because now you already made me understand that some of these tasks probably gonna have to modify the time frames, right? You already attacked the company as a whole. That maybe that's parts of why some of the employees left the company. That's an accusation too. Do you want to go there?